Dawson's Rentals.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. This is going to be a video about the Hasbro Power Rangers Dino Fury Zords. Now obviously I've already done the big review of the 5 Mega Pack, which I'll have linked to here a couple times, and I did a comparison of them to the Japanese version so you can see my opinions there, but I kind of wanted to overall more discuss it as a whole, whether or not are they truly better than the Ryusoulger versions. I don't think I can definitively answer that, which is weird because I make this video about it, because it's kind of a matter of opinion and a matter of what you want out of these. But I wanted to discuss it because I think it's interesting. I think this is one of the first cases in a long time where I can think of more reasons to buy the American version over the Japanese one for more than just price. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because I'm not one of the people that's hated the US Zords for like Bandai American stuff. People like flip out over those. I've always thought they were absolutely fine. You know, there's definitely been some weaker ones, but nothing to throw riots over. There's been a couple, you know, anomalies and stuff, but you know what I mean. But what I'm saying is that in most cases, when you're comparing the two versions, you know, my primary reason for, like, recommending the US one over the Japanese one would be the price. You know, if you're willing to make these small little compromises, you can get it for like a third of the price. But the Dino Fury one is the first one in a long time where I can think of a version that actually has some stuff that's significantly better than the Japanese version, which is rare. And I wanted to talk about that. So let me talk about first what I think the Ryusoulger ones do better. I think this is something that's really dependent on what you want out of it, but the gimmick, the helmets look way better on the Dino Fury ones. Way more accurate, way more detailed. But if you're looking for the gimmick that sort of functions with the sword and the morpher and the mecha, and it all works together and the key works like the show, Ryusoulger succeeds in that. I still wish Dino Fury could have done that. I kind of wish that they maybe just left the Megazord keys like just on their own. Doesn't even, they go in the morpher, sure, but it doesn't matter. Prioritize how the Megazord looks. Awesome. But then, like, have the regular keys that come with the morpher maybe function more like the show, because I know that there's some kids out there that want to have it function more like the show. Because, like, I've mentioned this in other reviews, but, like, when I was a kid, this is a dumb one. This is a really dumb one. It wouldn't have been realistic. But when I was a kid, I was disappointed that the Spider-Man web shooters were silly string and not like webs that I could the remote to me. That's a far-fetched example. Not surfetched, but far-fetched. But you know what I mean. I'm sure you had toys when you were a kid, too, that didn't function the way it did. And I'm sure there's kids out there that feel the same way. So I wish they could have somehow incorporated the key system that was a bit more realistic, but not at the expense of the Zords. But what I'm saying is if that's your jam and you're really concerned about that ecosystem, the Ryusoulger one does succeed at that better, and there's not any key confusion. And I just want to point out, though, that I think no matter what, the keys would have looked like they do in the figures. Because if you were to put a Ryusoul changer or a Ryusoul in with the figures, like the way they are in Japan, it would have driven the cost up, and I feel like people don't think about that. But okay, that's what they succeed at there. I think the other main thing that they succeed at is the ease of the functionality of the Lego pieces. I mentioned this in the review, and it's not like the ones in the Dino Fury one are bad. They're just a little tougher to deal with. Sometimes they're harder to pop off, sometimes harder to pop on. It just doesn't feel as fluid. As with the Ryusoulger one, which I had to work with a lot during that review, like I mentioned, it was super easy, super fluid, a lot more fun to deal with in the long term. Although, to be fair, you'd have more fun if you're just messing around with it on your own and not because you're trying to work on the review and you have to get it done quickly. But I'll just say, it's a lot more fun and fluid to deal with. The ports feel smoother and clickier, and it's more satisfying, and it doesn't feel like it's getting sticky or it's too hard to work with. And I'll say that was a plus they had there. And they have an overall general feel of higher quality. It's a higher quality plastic, but the Dino Fury ones don't feel cheap. And I would say for a 0.5 of what the Ryusoulger ones succeed at is there are those weird ports on the Dino Fury ones that don't do anything. Like on the Japanese version, they do have the Lego port, or the Zord Link port, but they don't have it on ours, which I didn't understand until some people pointed out for Reds. It might be because they don't want to have a phallic shape on a certain portion of the mecha, which I guess I get. But I don't understand the one on green, though. The one that's on green's back. What's the point of that? But that's the only other thing, and that's a minor nitpick. But what about the Dino Fury ones? Here's the thing, is I think even though the Beast Morpher Zords, these are first of all a step up from the Beast Morphers ones. And just aesthetically, I have to say both the Beast Morphers and the Dino Fury ones look much more realistic and better than the Japanese versions in terms of like comparing it to the show suit. The Beast Morphers ones were kind of cheap and became really flimsy later, but just from a look perspective, I think they both looked more like the in-show suit than the Ryusoulger toys. But the Dino Fury toys are a big improvement over the Beast Morphers ones in my opinion. I know I broke Tiger's leg, but that was more of a user error than anything else, so I wouldn't hold that against it. Not to mention, the Sentai Mecha are not these gods, guys. They are also prone to being broken. I've known of numerous people's Sentai Mecha being broken, whether it was when they first had them or becoming brittle later. I feel like people hold the Sentai stuff on such a pedestal that's not immune to that either. And with the Dino Fury toys, with that one exception, which again was mostly user error, these feel like a much higher quality than the Beast Morphers ones. They don't have that higher quality feel of when you're feeling the Ryusoulger mech, but the plastic feels more sturdy. It doesn't feel loose. It doesn't feel like it's going to lopside over. It feels very solid. I don't remember if I said this in the review, but I would compare it to how I feel when I'm holding a figure art of a Marvel figure versus a Legends figure. The figure art looks better, but it feels like it's made of porcelain, and if I flick it, it's going to go into smithereens. The Marvel one feels cheaper, but it's a sturdier plastic, and it just feels like I'm not going to ruin it as easy. And that's how I would compare that. I want to say that the quality of those is solid, but what they get better, again, aesthetically, they just look more like the show. Starting from the head sculpt, which I've already mentioned, they look much more like the show's proportions. They have much better articulation, which is an absolutely amazing thing. They started that with Beast Morphers, they continued it here, and you can get some really awesome poses, especially because in the show they're known for being so dynamic, so it translates well and it makes a lot of sense for them to be able to do that. And it's funny because people have complained for years about how Sentai mechs are brick, and then somehow we get something like this from the US and it's still Sentai mech supremacy, and it's like, guys, this is what we've been waiting for years, and I feel like some people can't give them credit for that, but it's amazing how awesome they look when they pose, they feel solid, they look more accurate, and I think that there's an argument to be made for these being better in some ways than the Japanese versions, and I think they succeed at that. They feel solid, they look good. There's some missing paint details, but they have much better and more intricate sculpted details. So in a lot of ways, they win in that way too. The only way I would say that we have a drawback possibly in terms of choosing these over the Japanese versions is when they release. As of right now, I got mine from Amazon in the 5-pack. Last year, I got the Ultra Zord pack, and then I barely saw the individuals. So there's a chance. They said they were going to be better about it, but there's a chance people could have a hard time finding these in stores. Also, as of right now, we only know that Gold Zord and the Terra Freeze Zord are coming out. We haven't heard anything else about the other auxiliaries, so there's a chance we might not get everything that's in it, including Kishi Ryujin, was that the one, the evil one? There's a chance we might not get that. So if you have completionist stuff on the mind, that's something to consider. But I would say this has been one of the most impressive US mechs we've gotten in years, and I think that there's compelling case to choose it over it. I think especially for me, what it comes down to, again, is the realistic proportions with the posing, but also, again, the helmets. Just to come back to that, I was amazed going through all those helmet comparisons how bad the Ryusoulger one looks compared to the ones we have. And yeah, so I would consider, if you're wanting to get Mecha, I would give real consideration to choosing this over the Japanese version this time because of how good they look. Again, it's going to be dependent on how much more we get, if we get everything or not, but still at this moment. So, are they better? Again, I think that's subjective. For me, I do still like both, but aesthetically, I do like our Mecha for the US a little bit better, and I thought it was worth noting that and having a little bit of a longer discussion. But I want to know what you guys think. If you have owned them or you've seen the videos, what you think of the differences, what's more important to you about the functionality. Let me know in the comments. As always, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell. See you notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.